Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Marquise Martin Hayes, and it's time for Thriving Thursdays. As you can hear, there'll be some construction in the background as part of what happens during this time when we're indoors making it all happen from our home. Anyway, I'm super excited about my guest today, but before I tell you about her, I want to share a little bit of something with you, as I always do around Rodan and Fields. Why Rodan and Fields? Well, let me just make it real simple for you. I get carded frequently because people think I'm underage. Anyway, taking care of your skin is part of outer wellness. It's something you should do, but the choice is yours. Give me one moment.
That's it. Nice, fresh, ready to go.
That's the redefined regimen, something that I use that washes my face, tones my face, and I have an AM moisturizer that protects me from UV rays as well as mineralize my skin. And then I have a night replenishing cream that I use afterwards. Men, it's not only for women, we need to do the same too. Now, let's move on to the show. Today's show is pretty fantastic. This is a friend of mine, MonaAburmishan, who is absolutely astounding. To put it lightly, she's beauty and brains, and more brains than you can imagine. She has the ability to make you laugh, cry, and be completely empathetic to where you are and pull you out of the hole you might find yourself in by simply being present. She calls herself a holistic healer on the microphone as her tool. And so without further ado, I bid you, my friend, Mona.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hey,
how are you? You feeling good today?
I am.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So people don't know. I gave them a little bit of introduction about who you are, and they don't have a clue what you mean to me. Like, you're a space of vision. You're a space of aptitude, support, possibility in a way that people don't normally experience in their life. You're like a Yoda. You're like a Yoda, much, much more attractive than a Yoda, but you're like a Yoda. You're a deep thinker because of your experience around the world, rocking stages in communities, making a difference, being trilingual, but aware of 5. You have truly encompassed what it means to be human without limitation.
Amen.
And I'm so glad to be connected to you.
You.
Yes.
What a great intro.
Well, I mean, it's what's so. It's what's so. Anytime we get a chance to talk or connect, it always opens up and blooms into something more than I could have imagined. And I always leave grateful. So today, the show, Thriving Thursdays, Mona, the fact, the focus, the plan is to leave people without an excuse, right? We live in a world that teaches us to accept our limitations. In fact, we defend or fight for our limitations, and as a result, end up living a shitty, empty life, missing the possibilities that are available to us if we were just open, if we dared to dream, if we dared to expand, if we dared to do the work. And so I bring you on to open up the space. So do me a favor. I know I gave an introduction, but could you tell the people about you so they have an idea of who is in front of them?
Well, at this current juncture, if you believe in like attracts like, I'm just the female manifestation of Marquise. And we just haven't figured out how exactly, and how can our mirroring of each other really serve others. So
yes,
even the fact that both of us have 2 microphones, like that's my superpower, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I am someone who I'm committed to working on my ego, which is expanding my understanding of my ego, pushing the limits of that so that it gets wider.
Yeah. Because
if the ego is part of just the human animal experience, then is our ego as underdeveloped or as developed as we want? So if that ego was in our world to protect us from saber-toothed tigers, and now you just have a ticket on your windshield and you react the same. Yeah. How can we be cognizant of that reaction and the impact of that reaction chemically on our body? And then that chemical, what happens with us and how we're manifesting our world as a reaction to life or as a creation of life. So,
wait, hold on. First of all, First,
Sorry.
we live in a world. No. This is wonderful. We live in a world where ego is considered a negative thing, but what you really opened us up to is the negative thing that we think is ego are just immature people.
Yeah.
Like immature of the ego, like the infantile, like not aware of what it's capable of, what it's there for, how it's designed to protect and open us. We live in this small, complacent mind. But your definition of ego and what's possible with it, like you totally embraced it like as a part of who you are.
Oh, totally. If like for example, like if you said something to me and every time my instinct is to defend myself, then I miss the opportunity that was actually a message to improve myself from my subconscious, projected it in the world to improve me. Right?
Did y'all hear what the woman just said? Every time you think that you need to defend yourself, you've missed an opportunity for your subconscious to come together to improve you. Like, okay, unpack that.
Okay.
I mean, please.
Okay, how about this? How about we do in real time? So
let's go.
Have captured in real time.
Okay.
Where my soul is asking your soul to tap into your instincts and say a word or criticism to Mona, and how I react. I'm going to create two ways. I'll show you what my instinct said, your conventional relationship to your ego in the defense, and then I'll show you how I process it in terms of my ego.
Okay.
So instinctively, let's just do it could be neutral. So when you deliver, it could be neutral communication.
Yes.
Right? And how I take it. Right? It could be criticism, it could be encouragement, it could be whatever. A statement, though, in almost like a factual way or opinion about me, and I'm going to show you how I react.
Okay. All right. So, Mona, why did you choose to wear your hair curly, stringy today?
Okay. So my instinct, and where I have a healthy relationship to my ego as it is in this form, and I worked hard to understand it, and I'm going to defend it. It's like this. Why? Is there something wrong? Like, did you expect me to have curly hair? I mean, like, or straight hair? Is it because I'm a woman of color and curly hair isn't represented right in the collective, so I have to straighten my hair? You know, actually, as a comedian, I used to spend a lot of time straightening my hair, and I even killed off my curls just so that I could fit this white. I mean, I'm half white. I'm not 100% white. So if I want to have white straight hair versus curly hair, and then internally I'm like, yo, is it a dig that I didn't get ready on time and I didn't blow and dry my hair? Is he commenting actually on the fact that it's wet? That is your conventional American
it is.
to their ego, where I'm a bad bitch. I know what I wish you would okay.
Yeah. That was good. That was good and accurate. I'm sure many listeners right now are like, yeah, that was me.
Yeah. Totally accurate, right?
Yeah.
But can you understand already that the deliverance of the communication didn't actually elicit that heat that elevated, where I connected dots of my past experience around this particular subject?
Yeah.
I connected all in a beautiful line and turned it almost like an arrow and got you with it.
Yeah.
You were like, whoa, right?
Yeah, I was just asking a question. Potentially, right? Yeah.
Totally, right? So the question is asked, and the interpretation is how now my connection could be forever.
That's true.
Okay?
That's true.
And in this particular scenario, me as a woman and you as a man, your instincts are now like, right?
Yeah.
You don't feel fully self-expressed because I gave you no access to that.
Can't say nothing around her, she's a little sensitive. Is it that time of the month? See? Oh my God, she's like, did I make her feel bad? Oh, she's super conceited. Like she thinks all kind of stuff could come up.
Perfect. Okay. So now I'm going to react with my relationship to my ego. Okay. Ask me the same question.
All right. Mona, why did you choose to wear your hair curly today?
Ooh. Probably because my higher self sensed, you might be wearing your hair curly.
And I am.
Right. 2, it might be that my higher self knew I would radiate more with your audience, which may be a community that's just like the Rainbow Nation, where all representations of human form
That's
will
how I
be
roll.
interpreted. And I look age ambiguous, race ambiguous, the curly hair. My hair could be wet curly. It could be. So actually, I think I'm merely a projection of who your consumer is going to be in the moment. And thank you so much, higher self, for allowing me access to know that. And thank you, Marquise, for celebrating the unique curls, because I grew up in an environment where curls weren't either separate. They were manipulated. Like in the 80s, people were getting perms trying to, right?
That's right.
Right. And then, and also women of color actually had a better relationship with their hair. And maybe in the 80s, then I think maybe like the early 90s when we came in, which is also a conversation about the drug cartel and where money was going from the drug right into the hair industry, which, you know, is a whole different relationship with our intimacy, especially as females, and what we're putting of all their karma in terms of, do you see where I could go? Where is possible, because I leaned in and allowed, and it took it as a communication for me. Or it could be like, this guy's asking me questions about my hair. He doesn't even know me yet. He doesn't even know me. So
okay. Friends in the audience, I probably should have did a better job of warning you. I like, you're gonna get the real today. You're gonna get the real today if you haven't figured it out yet. So stay tuned. All right, okay. I love that. And I heard Mona, that's just trying to be positive, being naive. What about that?
Yeah. Mona being naive is the true adult manifestation of the innocence of my childhood. So my beautiful naivete is my essence of innocence, and it's the source of my imagination, and it's the most dangerous weapon available. Why? Because all the buildings, this internet, this conversation is all a manifestation of our imagination. So if my imagination is accessible to me in its pure, raw, 7-year-old, 6-year-old, 5-year-old self, and I know how to take care of it, anything literally is possible, of my own creation or my creation in communication. Like if I said, Marquise, do you know that the skin cream line that you have, the fact that you divide it into night and day, do you know what's possible? Because within spirituality and within holistic health medicine, there's a clear distinction between night and day. Night is feminine energy. Feminine energy is often seen as dark and right. But like when you put a seed in the soil, it's dark and it just does what it does, and then it comes to the light. Light energy during the day is masculine. So your cream line, the fact that you have distinctions is honoring the fact that the human goes from masculine during the light, feminine restorative at night. Sorry, masculine during the day, feminine at night. You have a holistic product. But you get what I see in you.
Yes, you. This is why I love talking to you. You took something simple as my response to, why did you choose that response? I know that one sounded naive, and you're like, yeah, and what about it? It served me. It served who I am. I allowed it to empower me. That naivete served who I am in my response and communication, so much so that it didn't matter what you said, how you said it. I took it to serve me. Therefore, I was empowered versus giving away my power.
Amen.
And how huge is that? Pause. That we have access to it. And then you twisted and fixed it and connected it with how I'm taking care of the skin of mine. I'm so grateful for that. I must say.
Yeah, because my commitment to myself, it's only experienced in other human beings, right? Human beings exist in a network of communication. I don't know if I'm in the network unless another human is like right here. And then if they're right here, there means they're my mirror.
But we live, human connection exists. What? Say that again, please.
I don't know what I said.
Human connection exists only in experience of others.
Oh, totally.
So who you are doesn't even matter when you're alone, silent, thinking in your thoughts about what you think is right or wrong. It's irrelevant because your existence isn't present because you're by yourself. Your existence is validated and understood and made profitable, viable, necessary in the presence of others.
In the presence of others.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's like also in international laws, international law, sovereignty of a nation only exists if another nation acknowledges its existence. So, for example, do you know the first country to acknowledge the United States was a free, independent nation? In 1776, when America said, we are officially a country, do you know who said, that's what's up? You are. Do you know who said that? Which is ironic in this country.
Who's that?
The Kingdom of Morocco. 1777. Really? Yep. The Kingdom of Morocco said,
do your homework, people. Do your homework.
That's where our humanity is completely at risk. Us not studying the patterns of history and really digesting, looking at things from a perspective. So like if Americans, when they went to their history book and said, you mean to tell me North African Muslims of all colors acknowledged we were a nation, even though down the street we were abducting slaves? A word? You mean Africa's that dope? You mean the Arab world's that dope? You mean Muslims are that dope? Let me take a pause on my anti-all that situation.
Okay. So did y'all hear that? Do your freaking homework.
Please.
Your validation that you are, unquote, American came through an African of Muslim practice. Your validation that you are American didn't exist until acknowledged by others, and that others happen to be the other man.
You see what I'm saying? So when you unlock those beautiful idiosyncrasies of humanity, first off, the world isn't as scary. It's not as scary because you're like, oh, I actually do matter.
Right.
Not that these overlords, Illuminati, the Trumps, and all that stuff. Yeah. All they do is play you as a puppet with your naivete. But if you cut the strings with your own spirituality, your relationship to higher source, your relationship to your addictions, and everything you're consuming and thinking, and you've studied the patterns of humanity moving around the earth, right? Your emancipation is inevitable, and your emancipation is interdependent with another human's emancipation, and you'll just magnetize.
That's right. That's right.
But you got to allow it. You can't, hands off. Like, I can't be like, you know what? I want to be an independent thinker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go soak up Marquise. No, you celebrate Marquise, and Marquise will celebrate you. So we oxygenate Marquise. Hey, Marquise, how can I be of service to you? I don't know. We'll ask source. And then you're in meditation, you're walking, you're like, oh, Mona does. Brrrr. So it allows you to open up this one major thing about the brain. The brain is a motherboard, but when we have been operating with it now, it's been two-dimensional. Me, you. And it's surface level. Marquise has a red shirt on. Mona has a gray shirt on.
Yeah.
Marquise is cute. He's got 2 earrings on. He's talking about some shit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
When you're talking about things that are much more developed, it could look simply like if Marquise is the main character of his movie, that means he's the center of his universe. I'm the center of mine. What would have magnetized us to gravitate around each other? Okay. So when you're using only the mind to think, you can only think a finite mind.
That's correct.
Tomorrow I have to get groceries.
Right.
Okay. But if you allow your mind to just and you actually live from the heart, the way the ancient Egyptians did, Mayans, Buddhists, you live from this power source, like here and here. You are able to allow yourself to be so still. Groceries get magnetized to you tomorrow. You don't got to go out and do it because something you've allowed yourself to be a frequency of love. And like, I know it sounds airy fairy, but no, really, if a finite mind can only understand tomorrow I have to get groceries and not even conceptualize that your mom bought too many groceries 2 days ago and calls you, hey, I've got all these groceries, Mo. You want them? I've got space in my fridge. Your human mind cannot conceptualize that unless you allow it to. And when you start playing with that allowance and say, you know what? I know at the end of the day, I want to feel fulfilled. How that happens, I surrender to you, the universe, and I go free.
Okay.
Know your what, know your why. Why are you on the planet? Why do you want to do good? Why do you want to eat?
Time out. You're
Allow
unloading.
the how for the rest.
You're unloading. I
go
gotta
back.
take it back just a little bit because I love it personally, but I want to make sure everybody gets it. You just unlocked the key around finite mind and how we think about things. And when we think about things in the finite mind, our limitation is that of what we've known, been influenced by, or what's in front of us. Missing the heart of the matter, which gives us freedom, opportunity, peace, and allows us to see a bigger picture.
And be cared for. And be cared for. And be loved. That's the network. The network is an energy source that really wants to keep that heart pumping. But if the mind keeps limiting where the source is coming from, then then you die of a heart attack. Sorry. Hey, man. When you
have a heart attack, but I want to take one step back into my personal life. I remember when I would date women, I would think, oh, man, I feel goosebumps or something of that nature. But when I started slowing down and getting to the heart and begin to understand that it was bigger than the finite mind, that yes, I see beauty there. Yes, I see power. Yes, I see connection. Yes, I feel butterflies. Yes, I feel energy. But when I got to the heart, away from the finite mind, I expanded into a place of freedom that I didn't know before. And that place of freedom looks like, and so why are we connected?
See that?
This is not about dating this person. This is about a love exchange that may blossom and bloom and impact the world. This is about exchange. This is not about she's supposed to be my woman. I need to marry this person. It's none of those things. But that didn't happen until I began to understand and look into my heart. I remember one young lady I was looking to date, and she said, it's natural that we would be attracted to one another. That's natural, Marquise. That's common. You're amazing. I'm amazing. We should be. But that doesn't mean that's what we're supposed to do. First of all, crushed my little immature ego at that time. Secondly, began to really open me up to the truth of the nature. It's like when I discovered the pain of love. If you need to possess someone, then you don't love them. That's the finite mind.
Yeah.
Love is all freeing, whether they're with you or not. You have the same expression, and it's bountiful because it supports who they are and who they're meant to be. As compared to this, man, you're dropping some good stuff today.
Well, you're receiving it. So that's what usually happens is that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, but also,
come on, teacher.
Like-minded minds attract each other
to
kind of like, hey, man, I'm working on my southpaw. You're like, hey, I happen to be a southpaw boxer. Let's do this. And I'm like, oh, got clocked. We'll do it again. And then you start getting really good. So that's often what our communication looks like because you've been doing work on your tower.
Absolutely.
So I see human beings as these generators of energy. They can react positively in the world to a stimulant, or they act negative. So are they sending negative energy into the network, or are they sending positive? But if they're not even cognizant that they're a tower with when you're in the house, when you've got the circuit breaker, if you don't know where your circuit breaker is, then you don't know how to deal with your emotions, which is the communications of energy. And if you're sitting here trying to figure it all out, then you're still operating from the mind.
Oh God. All right. So us being energy and being electrical beings is one world in itself. Take a moment and open that up, please. Even if it's down to when we were younger and we touch the antenna and then stretch our arm out and all of a sudden the channel will come in better.
Yeah.
Because often we don't understand that we're energetic beings. We think we're just this flesh, blood, and imagination, not understanding, no, you're so much more than that.
Yeah. You might take that to a more like granular level so it makes sense.
Yeah,
okay. So as airy fairy as this may sound, have you ever tried to have you ever lied to yourself? Like, I want to play sick. I don't want them to know that I'm going to be sick.
Yeah.
I'm going to like, you play sick, which would be right. You're tapping into your own placebo effect.
Yes.
So you pretend to be sick long enough, you get sick. It's what the mind allows itself to believe.
Indeed.
Okay, so that's one thought. So that's how specific access you have to impacting your environment and your wellness by your thoughts. That's one modality. The other modality is if we believe the science that showed up that here's a piece of paper, but if we rip it to its most finite, we're going to get all the way down, right? We agreed like to a cell, because this was a tree.
Yeah.
The tree was from the earth, right? If we
Correct.
get to a cell, can you hold a cell, or is it just a vibrational energy? It's a cell, it's a nucleus. It's like, so if our body is merely congested cells, sperm, egg come together, and then it just starts multiplying, right? So we start off as energy, and merely we just start to, that energy will grow bones, will grow meat, blood, skin suit, a mortgage, a car, right? So the physical manifestation of Mona right here.
Yes.
I'm an organism.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
I'm like an organization. So the things that make Mona are brought together, right?
Yes.
My physical world representation has in it curly hair because my father's bloodline is Semitic, goes all the way to the Holy Land.
Yeah.
My mother's bloodline is white, goes to British and American.
Okay.
So now we're talking about the physical manifestation of my DNA. It's just my DNA, right?
Right.
And we're also saying that it likely has an energy and it has a vibration, because all it did was go from a small little nucleus and then it became Mona's skin suit, right?
Yeah.
And I'm the physical representation of the DNA. Now, that's all still energy. So if that's still energy, and I say to myself, okay, so that means I have impact by words and vibrations. Love. Like other languages carry a vibration. Like that's why the word F-U-C-K is so palpable, because of the hard K at the end.
Yeah.
That's why holds a vibration, right?
Yeah.
So that means the words that I say out of my face and the thoughts that I have within my head about my face actually can impact the physical representation of that face.
Yes.
I am beautiful. I am beautiful.
Yes.
I am beautiful. I actually become I am.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying by tapping in to energy as human, as language. And if we slow down and allow ourselves to say, what was going on in my thoughts and in my words that this love potential showed up? The love potential is merely a manifestation of you. And if you see that, then you say, oh, Marquise is my messenger, because Marquise is my mirror. So if I can't hold on to would you hang out and sleep with your mirror all day? No, your mirror is you.
No.
So you can't hold on to other human beings because they're merely manifestations of you in a period in time. Because every single day really is like a new day, because you make new choices.
That's correct.
Right? So the person you fell in love with in 1987, if you think that 7 years later, that human being is the same human being, then that's where the finite mind shows up, because that human being's been doing work. They got DNA stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when two energy forces allow each other to be energy forces, now you're like, what is possible? Because we haven't seen that in the last 2,000 years. I mean, shit, real talk, Marquise, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, you were a slave, bro. Your genetics took a journey, or you weren't a slave. You were a king that made it here. Accurate. So either way, somebody calling you just a black man, you're like, actually, hold on, my friend. I'm the physical manifestation of skin that happens to be darker than Mona, but we haven't even finished exploring what energy and DNA truths lie within.
That's correct. That is accurate. And that journey alone has been phenomenal I talked with you about this a little bit before, but there's something I want to say before that, because there's so many nuggets you're dropping. One, talk about the divorce rate being 51% or higher. Number one, marriage, we know, is a construct that man's created and whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But the idea is that is 51%. And I know they say it's mostly financial, but I'm willing to bet it's because of that 7 year. People are expecting people to be the same because they feel safe, because they're unwilling to grow and expand who they are, let alone let someone else grow and expand who they are. And so as a result, they're saying, you're not what you used to be. I can't be here anymore. You're no longer safe. Go away. You're hurting me, or whatever the case is. That's that. Just something for people to think about. Going back to my DNA, number one, the term black for me is pretty frustrating because of the way it's demonstrated and put together. The reality of it is no one's actually black. No one's actually white. But whatever, that's a different conversation. But the point behind that is, when I was sharing with you, thank God for my grandfather Moses, who had a birthday. He's no longer with us, but I think he would have been 102 or 106. I don't remember. Anyway, story short, the point behind that is Mona, as I was telling you, with my DNA, I discovered that, before I thought that my grandfather, who woke up at 8 years old, his father was no longer there. Oh my God, no one knows why. He just knows that he always lived in big homes. Was he studded out like they did slaves? We don't know.
Right.
When they went back to the community to find out what was happening, it was as if everyone knew they were coming. My grandfather and my oldest uncle went, and no one had an open door to them. They almost closed the door and looked at them strange and weird, like, no. So we're sitting in the back like, what the heck happened? We don't know. We have no clue. To find out through Ancestry DNA, plug, that his father was a U.S. detective, which meant he was essentially a spy in the neighborhood employed by the government, which meant they either had to move him or somebody took him out because he was actually that good dude getting stuff done. That's a complete shift from just, I'm a regular black dude growing up in America. It gave me identity. It gave me hope. It gave me possibility. Why? Because my grandfather, who only had roughly a 6th grade education, then educated himself the rest of the way. So much so, talk about DNA, am I just a black guy? That he qualified for the FBI to hire him, and they wanted to hire him, except at that time they wouldn't let blacks in the field, so he declined.
See, think about that. Right in that moment.
Yeah.
The United States lost a legacy opportunity. Yeah. Not only lost, they actually broke a chain of command because of the connection your great-grandfather had.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to mention,
my father didn't even know about.
Right.
Because he was
not to mention the trauma of being a 7-year-old and daddy's gone in that America. That America is a different kind of America now, right?
Yeah.
So the shock and trauma of that, but also the empowered legacy of you as a man and your Americanness tied to your great grandfather actually implores you in the world as an American, so that when some official comes at you some type of way, you're like, wait, I'm more American than you.
Really?
To know that is so not being addressed right now, whether it's in person, that your own self, or in other. And that's what I'm a stand for. I'm a stand for not only understanding Marquise's relationship to that, Marquise's potential attachment to that, and where it may or may not serve him. Also addressing the genetic relationship to the DNA of a child that doesn't know where their father is, and how he made choices in the world that dictated the DNA that Marquise eventually became. Because the ancestry DNA thing isn't just a piece of paper.
Right.
It's actually your roadmap of the potential future you're going to have, your evolutionary relationship to yourself, and what you allow. And if science is right, every 7 years we have a whole new body because we have a whole new cellular system, then you shouldn't be the same person. And anyone who creates a relationship with someone else, they're like, well, you're going to be the same in 7 years. It's like, no. Let's renew this relationship in 7 years.
Come on.
Right? We have a nice to deal with it every 7 years. Why? Because Marquise and Mona will be a totally different human, even though we'll have some of the characteristics. But you allow yourself to do this DNA work where you're like, you know what? For example, Michael Jordan, should he have been that tall relative to his family? We'll never know. Did he turn on something because he was so committed to being the thing he wanted to be in the world? He turned it on, and he trained his DNA to be the Michael Jordan. Maybe he wasn't even born that way.
Maybe.
right? But what would that look like in 50 years? Anybody who's watched the series, he's got yellow eyes.
That's true. Yep.
What does that mean?
Usually sickle cell.
Or jaundice.
Or jaundice, yes.
A lot of alcohol. Maybe the liver isn't healthy. Are we even exploring that? Maybe Michael Jordan became so Michael Jordan, he didn't allow his DNA to express itself in any other facet. He could have been he could have been the new Picasso. We don't know.
I.e. Kobe was heading down that path.
Thank you. That's the energy that's been emitted now on the spiritual realm and on the human realm, is the loving possibility of the masculine now.
You know what's crazy about what you just said, even about Jordan? I was just talking to someone yesterday or the day before. He's so, unquote, right? This is like outside view. I don't hang out with Jordan. I won't pretend. But he's so the old Michael Jordan that hasn't transformed his DNA into what he could be. I'm not calling him a bum. Don't misunderstand.
No, it's the guy in the tower. He can be too powerful.
He hasn't had a team that's had a 500 winning percentage since, because the evolution of who he is did not, or may have not really truly occurred internally. And so he's still just holding on to what was
and to what worked
offers versus evolving that into something.
Yeah.
Just something to consider. Just cross my mind. Listen, guys, I'm just trying to listen. I don't know where you're stuck or not, but Mona's definitely delivering some freedom.
Yeah, especially if you allow yourself to say, okay, universe, show me my behind. If you're that bold to say, you know what, show me my ugly. And you're like, received. First off, why would you say it? Second, what do you do with the data? And 3, however you process that data is going to always be your greatest source of evolution. You're going to always create your most amazing life when you're willing to look at your behind. Okay. Literally.
Hold on. Let me, I feel like I need to adjust some things here. If y'all haven't been listening, listen now. This conversation has nothing to do with your haters.
No.
They're not even the conversation. No. They're not even a part of what needs to be considered. Mm-hmm. It's all within. It's always. You with you. Totally. And your relationship to the world, not theirs to you.
Yes. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And if you could say to you, if you could sit there after this
whatever
production, if you don't have an entire Gaia channel, Marquise, by next year, come on. So if you can sit still and say, if my DNA can carry memory, and I just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if my great grandmother came from France.
Yeah.
And she spoke French.
Yes.
And her DNA vibrates French.
Yes.
That means through reproduction, I should still be able to tap into French.
Oh,
so,
you know I believe in that.
Right? Then the thing that you could say all day long that would be probably your own autopilot, instead of let me understand, like we are going in the world right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me understand. Let me learn. Let me understand. Let me taste. If you're like, instead, like, ancestors, let me remember.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real. That's real. And when I think about that, I think about, as you said, it's already encoded. There are just things in the way that we've agreed to, that we've accepted to be norm, when in fact, they're contrary to norm. They're limiters offered to us that we agreed upon through consensus that this is what I know. This is who I am. It's almost like in a more simpler form, I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. Not comprehending you're freaking neither.
No, you're not. You're
not even your thoughts and ideas, but you so associated yourself with it that you've lost who you actually are. Now getting back into the depth,
totally.
What you're talking about and our ancestry and what's capable inside of us. Remember, I talked about, I still believe this, Mona, about around the Tower of Babel. We all knew the same language.
That's what English is becoming again. And history repeats itself. Totally.
Yeah.
History repeats itself. So if anybody was really studying Rome Rome right now and the United States are mirrors. Even if it's as simple as gladiators and all of our athletes. Hello. And so what I propose that we look at as Americans, are we not the new Renaissance coming out of the light ages when Europe 500 years ago was coming out of the dark?
Wow. Yeah.
How are you going to engage? Are you going to be he, she, not me, and the what about me too movement? Or are you going to actually take some fucking take some responsibility
what it is.
for who you are in the life? Because this really requires one huge thing that's going to be difficult for women.
Yeah, but you said
you got to surrender victimhood.
Yeah.
And entitlement.
Yeah.
You actually have to be the human being.
Yeah.
You got to surrender your pain. You surrender your pain because on the other side of it is, because you think about it, if I've been hurt and I'm like, I will never do that again. I've been hurt. To be able to explore and say, and I forgive. Pain, what? I will choose it every day because it made me the Mona I am. I choose every time I was molested, every time I was hurt, every time I was called not good enough. I will choose every one of my bullies because it made me who I am. And now what is possible?
Everything.
And America likes to be the superhero. You can't be a superhero if there's no one else to save. And that's why we really got to look in.
Repeat that and slow that down about the superhero. There's no one to save.
Nope. People are going to buy your skincare line, not because of anything you say about it, but because we look at your face and it's radiant.
Yeah.
Evidence will speak, right?
You're absolutely right. That's how it happens.
And you're a stand for only products that you consume.
Only.
Right?
And I totally believe in, or I won't.
Right?
And I will not.
Right? And your physical representation, your manifestation, whatever Marquise is on, I want to be on that channel.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Right? So then you're like, all right, you could buy this and buy this.
Yeah.
And buy this because that's who I am.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
All right, then tell me the modern medical system. If a doctor consumed all the pills their patients were assuming, word. That's why this information takes time to come out, time to digest, because if I was a true heart surgeon, I should be working on my own heart. That's why a lot of these doctors are out there smoking, doing all the drugs they need to do because they're getting paid by pharmaceutical companies. They're just kids that really wanted to be a mechanic, but daddy said they got to be a doctor.
Factual. And they don't have enough heart, integrity, fortitude, and awareness of self to finish med school, as I have a friend right now. She finished med school, went to Harvard, and whatever that level was, finished that. The terminology escapes me, and then said, "Yeah, no,
yeah, right,
is what I'm doing because that is who I am."
Yes, right. If we went to school later in life, like right now, I would apply to Harvard Medical School and I would study some of the science that's been showing of Mona in the world.
Yeah.
So Mona as the prototype, like I want to study the chemistry of stand-up because what happens to the human being?
Yeah.
It's intense, right? But then I would study that. I wouldn't study like, all right, I guess I should. And I'm not saying modern universities aren't good.
Right.
Yes,
No, that's not what we're talking about.
But if we could, as human beings, just finally allow ourselves to say, we're in the university of life. We're in the universe of study because of evolution. I would go to the University of Evolution. If there's that University of Evolution, well, what would you study? The evolution of this. That means I want to see it get better. The evolution of this. I want to see it get better. That's the only reason we're alive, right?
You would think, and it's so funny you say that because everything you're talking about, the disassociation of self, is the source of the problem that we have because we live as if we're living for something else. But the reality is that's not living. I mean, you might be paying some bills and taking some vacations, but you're disassociated from who you are and therefore don't have what you need on the inside and unable to communicate thoroughly with those around you because you're playing the role.
Right. Totally. If I'm running from a saber-toothed tiger in the year 1 and in 2020, I'm in a big building talking to Marquise Martin Hayes about major philosophical issues, not worried that a saber-toothed tiger is about to come in the door, that means I am safe. That means you need to evolve now. We've gotten so safe now that we're in the United States, one of the most a global luxury item that the United States has said, ooh, I'll take some of that. I love this luxury item. Would you like to know what that is? It's called suicide. We've gotten so secure. We've gotten stale and toxic and alone that we're like, well, why am I here? I'll just pull the plug. And research shows suicide happens it's in a luxury community. When you're surviving, like in some of the nations around the world, that's why really understand what state this human is irrelevant of my environment has been my own safety cord. Because you get so safe, you're like, I need to look for problems.
Yep.
And then I think that's what's happened the last 100 to 200 years. We've been racing to security and stability and technology. Well, now what? Now, should we take that into the world, or are we trying to build the bigger tower and we want to live that like basically that pimp life? Really, we used to make fun of pimps, and now if you look at some of the music industry and some of our athletics, the American royalty looks like what? The Kardashians, plastic femininity.
Yeah.
Her mother. The reason that empire is built on the mother selling a sex tape of her daughter. What? That's prostitution. And we're giving them billions. Yeah, that's whose fault is that? So, like,
that's good. That's good. That's good, man. When you get down to the root of things, you really begin to open up possibilities, and you really begin to have an opportunity to retake.
Yes.
To retake what's going on.
Your sanity. This is about reclamation of the sanity. In the United States, the Kardashian is being built to look like a white African woman, yet we're killing African women. You're welcome. The bipolar disorder has been located. Deal with it.
Golly.
You're reacting this way because
if I didn't need this, I would drop it.
And I can get all day long. And also, from whatever statement is your truth, my king.
Yes.
If anyone ever knocks you off that block of truth, it's merely your fear showing up.
That's good.
Testing yourself.
It's good.
And you know that, right?
It's good.
If I said to you, your hair should be blonde.
Yeah.
That might have been, and if it hits you, like, it's because you've been at home like, should it be blonde? I'm thinking about it. And I just hit you.
Yep. That's accurate. That's accurate.
You can only be triggered if there's a reception for that trigger.
Okay, pause. Did y'all hear that? So those of you who have these people that are in your space that drive you crazy, get on your nerves, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it has nothing to do with them.
You're the common denominator. And it's a hard pill to swallow. And that's why this kind of conversation, this love, because when someone realizes that, I mean, you can conceptually you're your own block. You've got it all in yourself. The universe is out here. But if you're just like, hold on, all these people suck. Well, you're the conduit of that suckery. Yeah. So when you swallow that pill, you're like, then Marquise shows up. You're going to magnetize Marquise and his cream. You're going to magnetize Mona and her, like all the 97,000 things we do. Because individually, we're all Michelangelo. We are all David. We are all Renaissance. We are all knowing. We can create and generate it all. Whether I'm a wordsmith, whether I'm an engineer, whether I'm a bad bitch or I'm a holistic healer, I am one and we are one. We just have to remember what those skills were. Yeah, that's good. And we have to support one another. So if you see a young woman who's looking at you for some reason and she's white, she's probably looking at you but with like, Marquise, can you help me not feel like I'm a racist in this environment right now? Please, can you validate that I too am merely just a white representation of a human? Can you validate me a little bit? And if you feel that, give the bitch a hug. Yeah. And then pat her on. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do just kidding. Don't do that. No, but right now, the white conversation does need unconditional love. Oh, it does. Right? I can agree with that. Because I can agree with that. And that's not being white sympathetic. That's going, no, we're talking about humans in a condition that don't understand, cycling in ignorance, unaware of what's possible. You know what's interesting? I don't even remember this guy's name. I was watching a TED Talk the other day, and
his name is like Daryl or David Duran. He's a brother who's a musician who friended one of the leaders of the KKK in the 80s, and he traveled with him, and they welcomed him behind the scenes. They built a friendship, and he would come to his house, and the point of it was he was on stage at this TED Talk showing the robes that he'd given him because he had eventually walked away from the KKK. But I'm saying all this to set this up. I was listening to the tape. I was watching the video, and they showed a video of Richard, whatever his name was, from the KKK. And he was in his uniform, and this is some crazy, interesting stuff. He was in his uniform, and he said to the audience, y'all ain't ready for this. He said to the audience, he's got more knowledge and understanding than the rest of you niggers, but he wasn't talking to black people. He was talking about ignorance, which is what the word is referring to, and he was defending his black friend in the relationship and respect that they built for one another, although they didn't even agree on the same things. Man.
And what if we were to say that dialogue was actually just one human being wrestling with race?
Yes, to the point that some degree he walked away. He walked away from his post in the KKK, in part because of that relationship. What?
Yeah.
So yes, it is a time where the humanness of us really have to show up. Because going back to the beginning of the conversation, defense and fear are kicking in.
Oh, totally. And dialogue is not actually happening as dialogue right now. It's called like manipulative yelling or distraction. If the human being can manage its relationship to distractions, I don't know if America is ready for that noise. Because America loves to distract you. Why do you think Trump suddenly got COVID overnight, bro? Come on.
And then everybody around
everything on this Truman Show called America. They're bringing out all the stops.
Wait. Who has seen the Truman Show?
Come on.
Oh my gosh.
My humanness has been listen, my DNA goes back to a village where the tomb of Abraham sits. This village is older. So it goes older than Judaism. It goes back over 3,000 years into the Greeks. Yeah. So you mean to tell me I'm only as good as whatever crap I see on a screen that hadn't been invented until, I don't know, 60, 70 years ago?
Good. It's good.
If something tells me I need to moisturize my face with olive oil and I come from the Holy Land, well, you go get olive oil. Know thyself, be true. Know thyself. Not thyself to call the app, and the app's going to let me know every time I got to drink water. Drink water. You think cats drink Diet Coke because it's cheap? It's on sale? No, we're humans. We're animals, numbnuts. Come on.
Yeah.
That's when I get into my Chicago thing. And I'm only an advocate of, I'm an advocate of love to the point where it's almost like I'm a warrior of it. I'm a warrior. Because the world shows up to you in love. And the one thing we have to, it's a zero-sum game. Everyone wins. Everyone wins. What would it be like if everything was awesome all the time? All the time. You mean I can have whatever I want? Yeah. Oh, are you talking about all that manifestation secreting crap?
Yeah.
Well, that's just one channel. I'm also talking about like the heart. How every time you're thinking too much, if I were to tell you this, hey Marquise, the more you think you're going to lose your hair, would you stop thinking?
I know, right? I like my hair. I think I'd stop.
That's just a conversation. And what about my DNA has trauma in it that I don't yet know? Allow me to heal it on behalf of all of my ancestors. On behalf of all of my ancestors, allow me to heal my ego, my insecurities, anything that's in me. Because if they are here and they're like, yeah, I want to go do that, that's probably involving, let's say, some of the female voice. I came from DNA that may have involved, because I don't know. I didn't follow all my DNA. I'm too scared to test it.
Yeah.
I don't. But if it involved like feminine energy being considered witches, So that means maybe they were killed, right? If
yeah,
it
it was a result of small, male, immature ego.
well, yeah, but also massive fear around spirits. And if you
Absolutely.
don't know, right, if you don't know your spirits, you don't know yourself.
That's so interesting to me, because even that is still going back to that. Because when you think about the Bible as it's written, and the connection with spirits and conversations as it's supposed, I'm not going down that. I'm not going down that path today. The point is, it's been around us for so long, and yet there's still fear around it, still manipulation around it.
Yep. If we can shift our is to if. This is a microphone. To if this is a microphone, dot, dot, dot. This is a microphone. There's no more dots.
No, it's not.
This is stagnant.
That's right.
If this is a microphone, ooh. If
What's
this
possible?
isn't a microphone, this is just a cool thing I can do this with. This could be my lunch. So if we allow more ifs in the world, which means a lot, because when the more information we get, the more we think that information is true, then we're actually, while enjoying this as a lighter, we end up losing the ability to create light, because we're like, this is the only way to get light. You go watch the movie Outcast. Was it was not Outcast, the one with Tom Hanks where he's castaway. Hello.
Okay, Castaway. Okay. I didn't see
Watch him try to figure out how to make fire. It's real humbling. Oh, that'll humble your ass. That'll humble you. Try and make fire today. Homework for anybody watching this: go make fire. Don't burn up Chicago. We got an issue with Chicago, all right?
Yeah, right. Wait till it rains.
Yeah.
All right, listen, we have, number one, been feasting.
Yeah.
Truly feasting.
Alhamdulillah.
Like, my crew is deep and rich and bountiful and amazing.
Aww.
And I'm so glad you're a part of that. There is roughly showtime, about 3 minutes left. What would you like to share? What would you like to leave people with? That, I mean, you've offered so much. Like,
okay. I would like to offer.
Go ahead.
To your tribe. I would like to offer you my greatest fear in communication. Okay. Not come check me out, come buy my product, come this, come that, right? Because then I'll be the thing I don't want to be. Like, I'll be the consumer, the fear-based. Find me. I want more of this. This is great.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you my fear, that my number one fear here on camera, which is a truth that I've sought to understand.
Okay.
And in telling you, hey, I think this is fully true. Can we explore this together as a community and let me be your conduit? Is that I'm a medium. I'm a comedian. I work on myself. And the more I've been working on myself, I've discovered I'm a medium. Meaning I hear voices, I get bings in my ears, I get signs, synchronicities, I get intuition. I'm led to the point where now people are calling me for readings, but I don't charge, because this is something that is between me and source. The thing I suggest and I offer to you is we are all actually mediums.
That's good.
And it's extremely vulnerable to say, because then you're now accessing what that means. But medium is merely the middle between the human realm and the spiritual realm. You're in the middle. So if you allow yourself to communicate with your higher self in only light, love, energy, that's the last thing I would like to share. Is it's a beautiful technology to know. I'm available for communication, however it shows up, because it's between you and your higher power. I'm an open conductor and conduit. And how can we all turn on our own mediumship and really control our energy field and our evolution, our fears, and then create massive love in the world? That's all I got. And you can find me wherever I am.
And usually I have something to say to wrap it up. Okay?
I don't know.
I don't need to say anything.
Thank you, Marquise.
Thank you.
You truly are. You have been the love of my life. I am so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, friends, rewind, share, tag, store it. I'm putting it on YouTube, the Gram, Facebook. Welcome to Thriving Thursdays. It's been a pleasure to be your host and share my community with you. Thank you.